in a couple of weeks. You don't know, so we are glad to be here, privilege and honor. I want to say a special shout out to all the listeners to IRA FM this afternoon. Of course, Shane Clark is on the other side. And of course, we will be keeping your company as well as you will be keeping our company throughout the next 4 hours on the Stepping Razor today. It's going to be an action-packed program, you don't know, consciousness and things. I don't know, it's Marcus Garvey week, you know. Yeah, remember all roads leading to IRA FM on Sunday I come. August 17, we're talking about Marcus Garvey birthday. And it's all about the Mwalimu Garvey celebrations. Make sure it's going to be, as usual, very educational. It's also one of the premier edutainment events in Jamaica. You can't afford to miss out on that. Yes. So make sure and catch it. Of course, enough of today's program will be surrounding Marcus Garvey and him works and him philosophies and him songs and them thing there. And it's, so it's just one of them days. We also will be working alongside DJ Commercial. You don't know, say him run things when him ready, And I wanted him time there when him run things. So we'll be working alongside him today. And it's all about, just straight edutainment today here on the Stepping Razor. So much things happening in the world and Jamaica at large. And, we just all cut and go through with sayings and with things and all, what we feel is topical. And you don't know, so we're going to have a very interesting discussion a little later on as well, looking at the political landscape currently in Jamaica. So you won't want to miss that as well. Seeing my peeps? So it's good to be here. Bless up all the people in down town. You don't know, so we're not left out down a market, Coronation Market and all of downtown. Bless up on ourselves. We're talking about from Raytown, come straight across South Side and Tel Aviv and come down to down a Parade and cross Darling Street and then place to come down to Coronation Market over by Lizard Town. Yeah, man, bless up on yourself. Seeing also going up Collie Smith Drive and all them places, the whole of downtown and the whole of South St. Andrew and the whole of South East St. Andrew as well. Bless up on yourself. Warwick, Hill and Bulby, Harborview. Yeah, man, you don't know some is a town, man, so you don't know some have to big up the town people, I'm saying. So, we are up on our first break on the Stepping Razor today. We come back with much, much more. Been with us, man and woman story. Yes, man. You don't know, so we can't live without them. Sometimes we try to live without them, but that's how it go. And vice versa. Yeah, man. Ultimate man and woman story. This is a Stepping Razor on IRA FM. We have so much things to say with little time. But you know what to say? We have been living in some interesting times here in Jamaica. And of course, you don't know, well, we are at that time of the year, or that season will come around every 5 years where the excitement starts as Jamaica will be going to the polls to either rehire or fire the most honorable right now that is running the country. And it's going to be a very interesting time from here on in. Of course, dates set for September 3, nomination day next week, Monday. We're going to have a discussion on that a little later on in the program. And it's going to be a very interesting one, because, we are going to some little nitty-gritties in terms of how, the two main options, actually. Because here's some new options coming into the mix. And that's going to be very interesting. We don't know how the third thing go already in Jamaica. But here's around 4 or 5 options that will be presenting themselves to the electorate. But we're going to talk about that. This is just a little preamble, a little preview towards that. So we are up on another break. And this is a Stepping Razor on IRA FM.
Me on this my return to the United States of America. I have been absent from this country for 5 months, being away to the West Indies and the Central America, traveling in the interest of the movement I represent as its President General. During my absence from America, I had occasion to observe with a great degree of disgust how narrow-minded the so-called leaders of the Negro race are. In that, immediately after I took my departure from the country, the men who are supposed to represent and lead Negro thought in America endeavored to misrepresent me to the government of these United States by charging me with anarchy and with an intention to destroy the loyalty of Negroes to the government of this great country. These representations were made to the state and other departments, which occasioned me great embarrassment in returning to these doors. As by such information to the departments of state, such instructions were given therefrom to the various consular officers outside of the country representing the government not to visit my passport for return to this country. I had ultimately to appeal to the good services of the Honorable Charles Evans Hughes, Secretary of State, whom I believe represents truly and thoroughly the spirit of the American Constitution. I explained to him the situation, and he immediately gave instructions that my passport be visited for a return to the United States of America. This action of his defeated the misrepresentation made by the enemies of my organization and by the enemies of the Negro race to prevent my return to my sphere of labor. With all the embarrassment, I am once more in the United States of America, and it is for me to avow not only my loyalty to the Constitution, laws and government of the United States, but also avow that loyalty that is characteristic of the members of the Universal Negro Improvement Association to government. The Universal Negro Improvement Association teaches its members everywhere to be loyal to government, but at the same time to be loyal to the great race of which they are members. As an organization, we desire our educational, industrial, social, and political advancement. Because of this desire, we are loyal to ourselves and to our Constitution. But in being thus loyal does not mean that we are disloyal to any government or that we have no sympathy with other races. We love humanity. We desire peace. And anything the Universal Negro Improvement Association and I can do for the advancement of the cause of humanity and for the permanent establishment of peace, we shall be glad to do. I am now convinced more than ever that the Negro lacks proper leadership. The men who have led in the past are incapable. I therefore appeal to the new manhood of the streets of ours to give us leadership, leadership that is unselfish, leadership that knows no price. We can do no better than copy the leadership of the great Anglo-Saxon race, that leadership that gave to the world William Pitt, William Ewart Gladstone, Abe Disraeli, and Ed Chamberlain, and last but not least among them all, Abe.
The Ministry of Social Security says it has been undertaking a pilot of the Gulf Payout online platform, which will be used to facilitate payments under the $1 billion Solidarity Program. Portfolio Minister Pernell Charles Jr. said the pilot began about 4 weeks ago and some issues with the uploading of required documents are being addressed. He said this means the ministry is moving at a much faster pace in terms of identifying beneficiaries, adding them to the system, and doing disbursements. The Solidarity Program targets vulnerable groups such as the elderly, unattached youth aged 18 to 35, persons with disabilities, and Jamaicans without a birth certificate or TRN. Successful applicants will benefit from a one-time cash grant of $20,000. More than 20 males were arrested following the seizure of an AK-47 rifle along West Street in Kingston yesterday. Reports are that at about 6 a.m., a joint police-military operation was conducted at a premises in the area. A search was done and the weapon was found. Over 20 males were taken into custody for questioning in relation to the seizure and other crimes. In news overseas, artificial intelligence AI has invented 2 new potential antibiotics that could kill drug-resistant gonorrhea and MRSA. Researchers say the drugs were designed atom by atom by the AI and killed the superbugs in lab and animal tests. The BBC reports that the 2 compounds still need years of refinement and clinical trials before they could be prescribed. But the United States-based Massachusetts Institute of Technology team behind it says AI could start a second golden age in antibiotic discovery. Finally, producers in the United States raised their prices at the fastest pace in more than 3 years last month as companies grappled with new costs from tariffs introduced by President Donald Trump. According to the Labor Department, the Producer Price Index, which measures the selling price commanded by the U.S. producers, jumped 0.9% from June to July after being flat the previous month. The BBC reports that that was a much bigger leap than the 0.2% forecast by analysts who predict that the increase will soon mean higher prices for U.S. consumers. The report also renewed worries about inflation in the coming months. Those were the local and international headlines. Major news is next at 5:45 from the IRFM.
We have another thing we talk about, the struggle for the future. The struggle for the future, see? And what Marcus Garvey says is that having had the wrong education at the start of his racial career, the Negro has become his own greatest enemy. Most of the trouble I've had in advancing the cause of the race has come down to Negroes. And one at a time, he said, Booker T. Washington aptly described the race as, in one of his lectures, stating that we are like crabs in a barrel. None would allow the others to climb out. But on any such attempt, all would continue to pull back into the barrel. That one crab that would make the effort to climb out. Yet those of us with vision cannot desert the race, leaving it to suffer or die. Looking forward to century 2, we can see an economic and political death struggle for the survival of the different race groups. So Marcus Garvey said, looking forward to a century or 2, we can see an economic and political death struggle for the survival of the different race groups. Many of our present-day national centers will have become overcrowded with vast surplus populations. The fight for bread and butter and position will be keen and severe. The weaker and unprepared group is bound to go under. That is a very crucial thing when I'm saying, the weak and unprepared group. How prepared is the race generally? I think collectively, if we get up tomorrow morning and believe in ourselves, we can rule the world. But why? Our mind is such a thing that is keeping us under, and we can't see beyond certain things as a people. Seeing? So, right now, we continue to be the weakest race based on what we are seeing, but we can also be the strongest race if we open our eyes. So it's a thin line. And Marcus Garvey warned that the fight for bread and position will be keen and severe, and with the weaker and unprepared group going under. And that is why visionaries as we are in the UNIA are fighting for the founding of a Negro nation in Africa. And when we say Africa, we don't necessarily mean say everybody must head towards Africa, but we are talking about Pan-Africanism as well. Yeah. And all Pan-Africanists know what I say. Yeah, man. So, we're sitting and we're watching, and we see what is happening with the white man war, and we don't want business with that, but at the same time, we need to, as a people, get our act together once and for all. And that is why events like what we have on Sunday are coming at IRFM, it is really one of those events that is there to lead us towards certain consciousness. And of course, in the age of mass communication and mass media now, it can reach out far and wide, east, west, north, and south. And, who is there to be inspired will be inspired, as we always do. I know, say every year, we always have people who leave IRFM grounds very inspired. Say like a place like, say, all up a compound. You think that the school bus can go up there, so? Or up in a Kiel and Geisel and them place there. Yeah? Or, if you talk about all places all along a Portland, they up in a Moortown and them long and winding roads, country roads, Hanover and St. James and all them places there. No, you feel say it's realistic for that. So, I know people have been saying that, they don't think it was a good idea for the the buses them itself, second-hand bus them particularly, to be in Jamaica. You know, if we are a first world country, then if we are heading towards being a first world country or first world status, then when you have them things that, you know, Jamaica need, people, you know, like, just like the new bus them, the people have said them bus they should have new too. You understand? But me have a problem with the car still, you know. The cars, and then when you check out, you know, the cars to them bust up on the internet and all them things, then you see that they are varying cars. Some of them bust the cars all $1,500, you know, $5,000, $3,500. So me personally, me not believe that the maths are add up certain way. But me don't want to delve too deep into that because we are going to have a little discussion a little later on. So I'm kind of uncomfortable with that. But I'm comfortable with the fact that they make an effort for have a rural school bus system where it can go far away, and then the other part where the locals now will take over. Because as me say, me no feel say every little nitty-gritty up in the rural area can be served by the school bus system, seeing? And we say we have been seeing pictures of some of them because you don't know them are second hand. And some of them, you know, having issues. We see rotten tires. We see buses park up. Every day you see a new picture with one of them hitch up a roadside. You know, we see issues like some of them can't reverse. Them kind of thing there. But everything should be good, I would suspect, come September. And you don't know, say it coming at a time when it will be election time. And that is gonna be that is also another story, as people feel say, boy, maybe the election should have been, or the school year actually, because you can't put aside the election, but the school year should have start the following week. You know, why start it and then pause it for 2 days and then go back and then the same week and then, you know. So you have some educators who are also uncomfortable with that. But speaking about the rural areas and them thing, the road them body, man. Cheese and peas. Remember the government, they said them have a spark program. But when we check a stock, the spark now go start really spark until in October after the election. So that's another thing again. Boy, me on my treks to do my community program them a week time, boy, me I tell you, man. I tell you, sorry for my car more time. Yeah, man, the other day I go up in a St. Mary, the boy, and I tell you, man, the road them stay bad. Sometimes you go up all in a Sparling there. All that main road run from Sparling to Alexandra and Brownstone along that stretch there, which is a very crucial stretch. And good God, man, that is a stretch where them really should have concentrated on, because a lot of traffic that moves from south to west and from south to north and vice versa through the middle of Jamaica there. So that corridor there should have been a very, very smooth process based on the traffic and the connection between one part of the island to the next. And I tell you, it is bad. But this is the Stepping Razor on IRFM, and we'll be having much more on the program a little later on. So stay tuned. This is the Stepping Razor, right? Branch manager, halfway tree at Lucky Dollar, halfway tree, and they are having a very special promotion going on the way. I want to say good afternoon to you, sir, and welcome. Or ma'am. Hello?
Greetings to you, man, and the team. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine, man. Sir, respect, sir.
Good stuff.
How are you doing?
I am blessed. I'm happy to be here.
Respect. So I gather that you're having a special promotion on the way. Just tell Jamaica what it's all about and what it is.
Of course, it would be my absolute pleasure. So, of course, good afternoon, Radaland. And so here at Lucky Dollar, of course, we just celebrated 63 years as a country. And, of course, once you say excitement, Lucky Dollar is going to be in it. And so, we have decided that we wanted to know, just give back a little bit to our customers in this season. And so we came up with Immersive Festive Fridays at Lucky Dollar. And of course, it is pretty much a chance for our customers to, you want to get rid of your outdated furniture, to spruce up your living room just a little bit for the season. We're saying here is now the opportunity to do just that.
All right, so what are some of the special things that people should look forward to when they come there?
Well, most definitely for this Friday, and I must say this is a credit initiative. So for all our customers that shop on credit who complain, we don't get no discount, this is absolutely for you. And if you're a first-time credit customer, it still applies. So they can expect for this Friday, they can get 20% off once they shop on 18 to 48 months on credit. And that's on 50 to 65-inch TVs, Mega Systems, Whirlpool fridges, washers and stove, mattresses, and living room suites.
And this is specific for Lucky Dollar customers, because we know you're under a kind of one umbrella still. So, but this is specifically for this brand.
Specifically for Lucky Dollar customers.
Right. And you mentioned that persons have been asking, how them can't get no discount and so on. So this would have been primarily one of the reasons why you have done this?
Well, as I said, most definitely. And of course, just a way to give back to our customers.
Mm-hmm. So tell us about the location, where it can be found and how easy it is to get there and how accessible, how customer friendly are you in terms of assisting persons and so on?
Well, most definitely. At the current moment, we have 9 locations across the country. So we're talking about there's Halfway Tree, there's Morant Bay, there's Mapen, there's Sparling, there's Santa Cruz, there's Savlamar, there's Montego Bay, there's King Street, and Mandeville. So we're conveniently located all over to serve our valued customers.
Yes. And in terms of, you spoke about some specific things that are discounted.
Right.
What are some of the other things that people can get, at a good cost outside of the discount?
Well, as you know, we have 2 promotions running concurrently. So, of course, separate and apart from the credit offer, we do have other offers in store. As you know, it's back to school. So we have special on laptops, we have special on tablets, we have special on phones. You name it, we have it.
Okay. Any additional things you want to leave with us?
Well, most definitely. If you're a first-time customer and you'd like to shop on credit with us, it's pretty much simple. You can bring forward just an ID, your TRN, your last 2 payslip, and a job letter, as well as a bill that goes to your current address. And with just that, we'll be able to set you up on the system within 2 to 3 working days. And no need to worry. Once you start the process on the day, which is Friday, whatever promotion that we have happening on that day, when the account gets approved, you'll still get the discount.
Okay. And how long it lasts?
Well, it's this Friday only. Let's see. Okay. I don't know if we're feeling lucky or you're feeling good, or we're just in a mood to give back. Let us see if they'll extend it to the following Fridays. But it's just for this Friday. All
right. So thank you very much for speaking with us. And it is what's the promotion called?
It's Immersive Festive Fridays.
Immersive Festive Friday. At Lucky Dollar. Check it out, people. So I want to thank Otaria Williams, branch manager at Halfway Tree, Lucky Dollar, for speaking with us. Have a good day, sir.
You too. And thank you for having me.
Bless. Listen. All right, so you're up on a break here on the Stepping Razor. This is Roger Hasfall, Concrete, holding the fort for Muta. You see the bookstores, them getting busy. We see people getting busy downtown and around town, the school uniforms and all the necessities for back to school. We don't know, say it's a kind of time where, bring on, some farmer, pressure upon people. But if you prepare consciously, then, you should not be that pressurized, the back to school time, yeah. So once you prepare yourself consciously, once you have youth, you just prepare yourself consciously. So when this time come, you prepare to deal with the costs that are associated with back to school. Because I don't know, we used to hear that the men and women of today We're the children of yesterday, or the children of today will be the men and women of tomorrow. Remember, I was alcohol youth, me used to say that. And I can't believe, say, boy, we are the man and woman of tomorrow that I was talking about back in them days there. So, yeah, man, we have to prepare for the youths then. All right, so we continue with the stepping racer today. And, this is a kind of message that was in the middle of the 1970s. Bob Marley, veteran political commentator, former MP. Yeah, man, one of our elders in the business. Want to say welcome, Mr. Lloyd D. Smith.
Thank you very much. Happy to
be here. How you doing, Uncle?
How are you doing?
I'm good, man. Thanks. Yeah, man.
Blessing.
All right, sir. So, the Prime Minister, him fly the gate.
Yeah.
It is September 3, Monday coming is the nomination day. So, I'm going to ask some questions and just to get a particular kind of a way for the people kind of understand. So, the JLP is saying that they should be re-elected because, them have achievements. And the PNP has said, boy, time come. And you have mentioned to fire or to rehire. Why should, I'm going to ask a question this way first. Why should people be skeptical of both?
Of both parties?
Yeah, and what they're coming with now, heading into the election. Why people should be skeptical as to the promises and the so-called achievements, and on the other hand, the opposition, why should they be skeptical of this time come?
Well,
what would be in people's mind because just by being skeptical?
Yes. Basically, over the years, the Jamaican people have become convinced that there's a lot of what we call samphires in the system, whereby the politicians, for the most part, make a lot of promises during an election campaign. And then after the campaign, many of those promises are not kept. And usually when it comes around for another election, the one that is in power will sort of try to hurry up and get as much done so as to reconvince those who would have voted for them. And so there's this tremendous trust factor. There's also the issue of how MPs relate to their constituents. Because in many instances, once the MP has been elected, he or she becomes missing in action. The constituents can hardly ever see them. And if they do, they sort of response that they would expect as to what they were getting during the election campaign. Because during the election campaign, they get hug up, they get kissed on cheek, they get a letter, all sorts of wonderful niceties happen. But now that the person is elected, it's almost like the romance is over,
Yes.
and so the people feel spurned, and you often hear the complaint from people in various constituencies saying, "Me nah see me MP, me couldn't tell last day me see him. When he might drive past him drive past 19 feet vehicle and not even wave to me, So there's that disconnect.
Yeah. Hold on, Sir Lloyd. Stick up in. Yeah, hold it there. I think people would have been skeptical. Why people now should embrace what both are saying?
Well, the fact is that there are two things at play here. One is that in the very final analysis, one of them will have to be elected because we are in a democracy. And in that democracy, we have to choose a government. And it is your vote that makes that decision. And so from that perspective, yes, the time has come for persons to exercise their democratic right. Of course, based on what we have been seeing happening in recent years, many Jamaicans have been turned off from the system, and we have been seeing consistently lower and lower voter turnout. I think the last election was about 37.5%, which means that the majority of the Jamaican electorate did not participate in the election. And based on the feedback I'm getting now on the ground, it looks as if we may again have a similar scenario playing out. You know, there's a saying that bad politicians are elected by people who do not vote. You know, so
yes,
it could be a case where you say you're not voting and then, you know, it doesn't help you in the final analysis. So maybe you should just try and vote and see if things may go the other way.
yes.
But the fact is that, especially among the younger generation of Jamaicans, they don't feel that government care for them and really looking out for them. And so what we are now seeing is that the politics has become transactional. In other words, what can you let off on me? No. Don't tell me say you're going to do this next year or the year after. When you think you're going to give it to me. No. I remember one MP the other day saw me and said, boy, Lloyd, I'm distressed. I said, what's the problem? He said he was in his constituency and he was speaking to this lady and she was complaining that, you know, from he has been elected, she has been benefited in any way. And he said to her, well, look, I just give you a nice carpet, a nice road, well asphalted and everything. And she looked at him and said, asphalt can yam. You understand? You understand where we're going? So there are what we call the bread and butter issues, the kitchen table issues.
Yes.
And very often governments tend to look at the big picture, what we call the macroeconomic picture. The big talk about GDP and all this sort of thing. But those big things don't translate into when I go to the supermarket necessarily when I have to buy a pound of flour or bread, that I'll be able to afford it.
Yeah, so in essence, the micro is a serious issue, that the micro is the everyday man, like me and you and Oop on the street. Yes. And so the politicians very often live in what I would refer to as in the clouds. But they are saying, you know, yes, we pass IMF tests and inflation, and everything is looking hunky-dory in terms of the gross domestic product and blah, blah, blah. But that doesn't translate into my being able to pay my fitness school fee or to go to the supermarket and be able to come out with enough goods to serve me for the week. So this, I think, is one of the critical factors that will be facing the Holness administration at this time, because from all indications, and it is fair to say that this JLP administration has done much in terms of stabilizing the economy and so on and so forth. You know, as we say, the big picture, the macroeconomic things are in place. But on the other hand, when you drill down now to John Public, Master, Miss Jan, and I think this is where the JLP is in fact in trouble. On the other hand, the PMP has sensed this based on their going out into the field and talking with people and so on. And so they have latched on to that and are seeking now to overturn the apple cart, so to speak, and to get into power. The reality is that for the average Jamaican, there's still the feeling that they are not going to see much of a difference. I heard a gentleman on a recent program saying that, you know, it's a case of room for rent, apply within, when I go out, you come in. So what we are seeing now and what may happen, we are not absolutely sure it will, but traditionally, historically in Jamaican politics,
parties usually get 2 terms. It's only once that we have had a situation where P.J. Patterson was able to get a 3rd term. And because they face what we call the incumbency syndrome, meaning that you have been in power for long and people tired, and they want to see a new face and they want to feel a new thing.
All right. Let us look at one of the things that would have helped Holness in the past 2 elections is that he was the man, and I mean, a lot of his candidates latched onto him and his popularity and so on. Now we get the feeling now that has waned. I mean, he's almost every man for himself now. I mean, how critical could that be?
It is going to play a very critical role in the election, because it is fair to say that in the last 2 elections, a lot of the members of parliament that won on the JLP ticket did so on his coattail, so to speak.
Yes.
This time round, it may not necessarily be so. I think it is fair to say that he has lost a lot of his sheen, the brogued popularity, and the polls have been showing this. He's no longer there. He has been trying now to see if he can revive it, but it's not really working as much as I think he would have hoped. And it means that a lot of these MPs who have not been performing and were hoping that somehow with his presence things could turn around for them, they may get a rude awakening this time. No doubt Mr. Holness will be going out there and still trying to, as he has already started his road tours, and he's going into every constituency, he says, and he's not writing off any constituency. But it's going to be an uphill task, because the fact is that many of these MPs who won in 2020, they have not been performing, and they have not kept in touch with their constituents. And there's a lot of disgruntlement among many labourers to say they're not seeing the MP not paying them no mind. And now that election time comes, they have resurfaced. And that now sets the scenario for a lot of transactions that have to take place. So a man going to say to the MP now, so all right, you want me to put you back? What can you do for me now? Me need zinc, me need some block.
Tank.
Me need a tank.
Yes.
Me need
them thing there. You need chicken. You need chicken. Yeah. And, fertilizer, them thing there.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
And
yes.
So that's where we're heading now, A lot of transactions are going. And of course it also brings in the aspect of vote buy.
Yes.
Unfortunately, that is part of the reality.
And on the other hand, now the opposition leader, can his candidates ride on his coattail, as you mentioned about, or is it a case where they on their own can pull it through for the opposition?
Well, the thing is that Golding started out with a tremendous deficit in that many Jamaicans felt that he was not a Jamaican. There was thought that he was British, and there is still that talk being pushed that he's not a Jamaican. He has tried his best over these many months, talking patois, even cussing bad word one time. And so he has that uphill task. He has done reasonably well, in fact, because I'm amazed that at this point now he seems to have become quite comfortable among the masses. So much so that some people talking about him is another Michael Manley, which I don't know if that is correct. But
I don't think I agree with that either.
No, I don't necessarily agree with that. But he has come a long way, and even in the polls we have seen where his popularity ratings have in fact gone up. Not as much as perhaps it ought to, but it has moved in a positive direction. So he has that uphill climb. And he has some, I don't know, I think the best thing going for him right now is that he has very little baggage, in the sense that he doesn't come in with a lot of scandals. Because, most of politicians do have some baggage. In the case of Mr. Holness, as you well know, he's running with the Integrity Commission and this whole thing about illicit enrichment.
But is the masses watching that, though?
Huh?
Is the masses watching that, though?
In a sense, I tell you in what way they are watching it. Based on my own drilling down and listening to people, you pass through a little bar or on the sidewalk and you listen to what people are saying. There is the feeling that they are at their level suffering. They can't buy the white rummers off as they want. They can't one patty and a cocoa bread and a drink now almost. They can't afford it. So they are saying to themselves, boy, this man going there and he started out at X and now he's at Y. Rotten rich now and me still out here suffer. So what a go on? So there is that aspect to it. And it's an underlying factor because it is not a question of saying that he is corrupt, so to speak. But for them, they are saying if him can reach the so and if so, everything is now hunky-dory for him, why he never make sure that we can even reach halfway, quarter, we are a few inches up. And that is the sort of mentality I'm picking up. And it could therefore affect how some people at the grassroots level vote. The fact of the matter is, though, is that we are living what I call in a Nancy country. And what I mean by that, Nancy, the culture is, everybody are trying and the hustling mentality out there, the scamming, the bandulism, and so on. And unfortunately in Jamaica, there is still that overwhelming feeling that a man have to try a thing.
Yeah.
And no wrong if you try a thing. The only time when it's wrong is when you get caught.
Oh, boy.
And that's where we have reached. But I still believe that in the finals, that will not necessarily be his downfall or the JLP's downfall. You'll recall in not the 2020 election, but in the 2016 election, the PMP spent a tremendous amount of time talking about his big house. You remember that?
Yeah,
and they spent a lot of time on that, saying him have this big house, where you get this big house from.
But can he survive this one? But that was big, but the new one is also big. So he could still survive.
He could still survive this one. He could still survive, but I think it could still have a dent in his armor, and it could still cause him to lose the election, and not necessarily by people voting against him, but by people not voting at all. You see, what is going to happen in this election is that the two parties have bases, and the two bases are almost the same. I think historically, the PMP base tends to be a little bit bigger than the JLP base. So, but what usually happens, for example, in the 2020 election, a lot of comrades, a lot of people in the PMP did not vote because of, the all sorts of problems in the PMP at the time. Right? This time round, the party is very much energized. The base is fully energized. So that is where the JLP could have a serious fight.
Can both, let us look at the bases. Can both bases pull it for them, pull them over the line, or they'll definitely have to rely on those who are not voting on the undecided?
All right, look at two scenarios. If the two bases come out in full, then they will have to go find a way to pull in a few uncommitted voters, right, to carry them over the edge. On the other hand, if for whatever reason the base does not go, because you have a situation, sometimes where a lot of comrades and laborers and election, they're not voting for one reason or another.
Yeah.
Right? They may have been made certain promises that didn't come true, or they're not too like who go on, they not like the candidate, and all sort of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where now the mobilization comes in, the organization comes in, right, on the ground. And this is why I strongly believe that this election is going to be won on election day, and the party that is greater at mobilizing, organizing, bringing out its people is the one that will win. It's not going to be just a question of who is popular and who is not popular.
Yes. So we're in some interesting time. The PNP launched its manifesto, I think, 2 nights ago.
Yes.
The JLP is supposed, I know they have a press conference today. I don't know if it's their manifesto launch, but I know they had something today. Based on what we are seeing in this initial manifesto from the PNP, how is it looking? Is it something that can be resonating with the people?
Some aspects of it, yes. I've already begun to resonate with the people. Housing is always a very critical issue for Jamaicans. House and land. Every Jamaican wants to own a little house for himself, a little tuku, as they call it. And every man and woman would love to know that they have a piece of land. And the PNP is focusing a lot on those two issues, and I think they will resonate. Also, the creative industries, I see they're putting a lot of emphasis on that, which for too long we have been playing around with that. I mean, we keep talking about Bob Marley and reggae and jerk, this and that, and we are not monetizing that aspect of our Jamaican culture, which is very rich and which could enable us to achieve economic independence if we take it seriously, Right. And I think when I look at the PNP manifesto, they seem to have caught on to that. And if they pursue it, it would do very well for the country. I see they have also gone for some populist things, for example, making Miss Lou and Bob Marley national heroes. I see they're going after having at least one Rastafarian in the Senate and a Maroon representing those little things.
And also audio part of in the Jamaican vernacular.
Also a version in Patois.
Yeah.
Because this is something that we tend to overlook, because sometimes when I hear some of these politicians talking on the platform, I say to myself, I didn't realize that they are talking about the head of the people. The Jamaica's first language is not English,
True.
Our first language is dialect, the Patois, and unfortunately we allow what I call the upper St. Andrew mentality to take over. And if you don't speak proper English, then you are looked down on, which is why, for example, sometimes our athletes and our entertainers, most of whom come from the grassroots level, are sometimes not treated as well as they ought to by the so-called upper crust of the society, because they don't talk their language, and this is unfortunate. So I think the PNP now saying that it is going to legitimize the Patois and make it part of our, part of us. And even in the school system, when you're teaching, I used to be a teacher of English in my very young years. And what I found is that sometimes in order to reach the students, you have to talk the Patois with them. And then you gradually go back into the English and show them the difference and so on. It's a very critical thing. And so those sorts of things that the PNP has been zeroing in on, I think are good things, We all know that the biggest problem with the PNP over the years is that their biggest problem has always been the perception that they're not very good at managing the economy. You know, they run with it mentality and that sort of thing. This time round, they are saying, based on this manifesto, that they will ensure that they don't go that route, that they will make the economy grow. Right now, the economy is in fact stagnant. We're looking at about barely 1% growth. Now, they are saying that they are looking at a 3% growth. That would be magnificent if that did happen, you know, but we just have to wait and see because it won't happen overnight.
Yeah. All right. On the other hand, no, we have not yet seen the manifesto of the ruling party, but they would say they have things going for them like the reduction in crime.
Yeah.
Like the reduction in crime, which is a major thing in Jamaica. And they're going to point to that and they're going to live on that. Can that be something that helps them over the line, if they are to go over the line?
In the middle and perhaps upper middle class section of the society, it may well help to persuade voters. But I think that in the inner city communities and in the very rural poor communities where we have seen so many killings, police killings, for example, I'm not saying that all of these guys were angels, but the feedback I'm getting, you know, somewhere along the line, there's a big question mark.
Because the extrajudicial has gone up over 100%.
Extrajudicial killing. There's that day past that police don't kill somebody, you know. Practically every day I listen to the news, another man gets shot and dead. And remember, these are fathers, brothers, cousins coming out of these inner city communities, coming out of these poor rural communities. And it could have a negative effect on the government, I must tell you. You know, it can. The fact that crime is down, fantastic, yes. But as I said, for the upper middle class, it's a good thing for them because they want to make sure, you know, but for the poorer class of people who have to face certain things every day, I don't know if that alone can help. But it will help because people are beginning to feel safer. And I think that is one feather in the JLP's cap. But the fact is that when you talk to people, do you feel safer now? You don't get a resounding yes. There is still an element of fear out there in the wider society.
And one thing before we start to wrap, or we are about to wrap, the polls have indicated that the ruling party have remained flat over a long period of time. The opposition, they were up, but they are coming down, but still have within a margin. In the last couple of weeks leading up to now, can we say that is a set scenario based on what one is picking up on the ground?
Yeah, I think it is still neck and neck because, as you quite rightly stated, the JLP has remained flat, which has come as a surprise to the JLP itself, because that's one of the major reasons why Mr. Holness did not call the election earlier.
He has found himself at the center of an emotional and public controversy after discovering through a DNA test that a child he believed to be his daughter is not biologically his. The revelation, which Gage says has left him feeling betrayed and financially exploited, unfolded during a heated live stream in which he demanded a full refund of the money he claims to have spent on the child's upbringing. The entertainer, whose real name is Ryan Douglas, did not mince words as he recounted the ordeal to his followers. According to Gage, the mother of the child, identified as Ashley, deceived him into believing he was the father, a claim now proven false. Gage alleged that Ashley has not apologized for the deception and is still denying any involvement with the man he believes to be, or she believes to be, the child's actual father. The DJ explained that when he first received the DNA results, he noticed a string of zeros on the report. Confused, he contacted the doctor for clarification. According to Gage, the financial burden he carried over the years is one of the biggest sources of his anger. He insists he wants his money back immediately. In other news, Jamaican-American artist Busta Rhymes will receive the Elite Icon honor at the upcoming Caribbean Music Awards. Organizers say the award recognizes his significant influence on the music industry and celebrates his remarkable ability to blend his Caribbean heritage with mainstream hip-hop. The event, in its third staging, returns to the King's Theater in Brooklyn on August 28, 2025. This year's ceremony will spotlight over 200 nominees across several categories. Leading the nominees include Massacre and Shensia with 7 nominations each, followed closely by Patrice Roberts and Kess with 6. Other standout artists include Vybz Kartel, Buju Banton, Naila Blackman, Chronic Law, and Cranium, each securing 5 nominations. Other special awards will be given to Haitian band Karimi, recognized with the Legacy Award. Sizzla Kalonji will also accept the Humanitarian Award for his efforts through the Sizzla Youth Foundation to uplift and inspire youth, and Bounty Killer will receive the Lifetime Achievement Award. Grammy-winning reggae band Morgan Heritage are currently on the European tour. The Morgan family, through, of course, thought that visit was important in keeping with the legacy and making sure that their music continues to grow and keeping the groove alive. Gramps Morgan, who will shortly embark on his own solo tour, has stated that this will also keep the legacy of his brother Peter Morgan alive. Gramps, along with his siblings Moja and Yuna and his son Jameer, are currently members of the band, known for hit songs such as Reggae Bring Back Love, Send Us Your Love, Nothing to Smile About, and Down by the River, among others. Tomorrow, Friday, August 15, Morgan Heritage performs in Serbia at the Nisville International Jazz Festival, while they head to Spain for the Rotterdam Sunsplash the following day. Carafesta in Barbados on August 29, while from September 11 to 16, they will be on the Japan and South Korea Far East Reggae Cruise. Hey, party fans, draw closer. Trainee Reid is up for the 411 on what's popping for this weekend. BLK Festival presents Massacre Live. August 16, gates open at 9 p.m. at Black River Independence Park in St. Elizabeth, featuring live performances from Massacre, Laden, Malidon, Javodan. Admission general $8,000. If you're VIP, $10,000. Also happening, IRFM's Marcus Garvey tribute on Sunday, August 17. Jamaica's #1 radio station, IRFM, continues its mantra to pay tribute to Jamaica's first national hero, Marcus Mosiah Garvey. The 2025 tribute is being held under the theme, From Protest to Production, Up You Mighty Race, the future is now. Celebrations accompanied by Nyabingi drumming will take place inside the IRFM courtyard and the Coconut Grove Great House. The day's proceedings will feature speeches and performances from Dr. Amina Blackwood Meeks, Brother Aku Motuta, and Hero Meni Elek. This will be followed by the Marcus Garvey concert starting at 6 p.m. The activities will be broadcast live on the nation's #1. And of course, you can see what's happening on IRFM.net starting at 6 a.m. with the African Forum, hosted by Kabuma at Karoo. Make it a date and don't be late for sure. Also happening, of course, Team Unstoppable Records presents Next to Naked River Soiree. Sunday, August 17, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. at the Calypso River, of course, White River, Oteria, St. Jan. Live performances by Charlie Black, Kemar Icon, Kaleido, Avance, Chrissy Lee. Music by Cutstone Systems with Bose Killer. Mixmaster Overdose. Timeless Full Speed. DJ Chapo Blacks. Admission $2,000, pre-sold $3,000 at the gate. Also happening, of course, CONCACAF Caribbean Cup, Mount Pleasant Football Academy versus the SV Robin Hood, and that's August 19 at the National Stadium. It kicks off at 7 p.m. Admission is only $1,500. Over there in the international scene, Sean Diddy Combs is not going home to his family for at least another 7 weeks, so they're going to him. The Bad Boy Founder's family dropped by to see him at the MDC Brooklyn, where Diddy is being held on until October 3. His October 3 sentencing. Photos and videos show Diddy's loved ones arriving and leaving the jail, where the mogul's been confined since September 2024 arrest. And he got to see 3 of his 7 kids. Diddy's mother, Janice Coombs, came through along with 2 of his sons, Christian King Coombs and Justin Coombs. Baby mama Dana Tran was in the traveling party as well. She brought Diddy's youngest daughter, Love. Diddy was denied bail last week for a second time since the jury verdict, and he will remain at the MDC Brooklyn at least until October 3, when he's set to be sentenced for a couple convictions on prostitution charges. Based on several sentencing guidelines, Diddy's defense team is recommending a sentence between 21 and 27 months in prison, but prosecutors are recommending at least 51 months behind bars. Celebs celebrating their birthdays today: veteran singer Trilla Yu, actress Halle Berry, and former basketball player Magic Johnson. And if you're celebrating your day, we say happy birthday to you, okay? On this day in music, the year was 2005. Faith Hill was at number 1 on the US chart with Fireflies, Hill's 3rd consecutive album to debut at number 1 on both the country and Billboard albums charts. This day in music, there was 2006. Boy George was seen sweeping the streets in New York as part of a 5-day community service sentence. And also this day in music, there was 2009. George Michael was arrested and held on suspicion of driving under the influence of drink or drugs after his Land Rover was in collision with a lorry. All right, that's the full 100 in music news for today, Thursday, August 14, 2025. Remember to check out irfm.net/ebuzz for more music news details. You can also check out live at 5:45 for Entertainment Spotlight. Music news is brought to you all courtesy of Pizza Hut Jerk Pizza. Taste the spice in every slice. Gotta big up the peeps over there on IRFM TikTok Live, DJ Collision on social media. I'm Courtney Mack. Concrete Asphalt continues with a step in razor. Have a great afternoon.
Sir, ISSA. God is salvation in Swahili. Jabari, another African boy name. From Egypt, it means famous or brave, Jabari. Kazim, mostly used in Nigeria, it means controller of anger, Kasim, Kazim. Kendi, African boy name, can also be unisexual, it means loved one. And also another boy named Omari or Omari. God is the highest, Omari in Swahili. God is the highest. We'll move on to some girls' names, African girls' names now. Ada means first daughter or her father's daughter. Ada, A-D-A, some spell it A-D-I-A. Amari or Amari possesses great strength, coming out of Arabic roots. Bahiti, Swahili, mean lucky or fortunate, B-A-H-A-T-I. Eshe, pretty simple, from Swahili, life, energy. Hasina, cute African name out of Swahili as well, means good. Jamila can be spelled with a H, Jamila, or you can put a H at the end as well. With or without the H, it means beautiful. Latrice, Tanzanian baby girl name, noble woman, Latrice. Machel, Hebrew African roots mixed. It means who resembles God. Malaika, Malika, African girl name meaning queen. Makina, used around the globe, African meaning of happy one. Nima, Swahili, Neema, born in prosperity. Taylor, rhyming, you can rhyme it Kayla, and it translates she has been seen. And Zina, Zina. And it represents a child's secret spiritual name. Zina, secret spiritual name. Leading to IRA FM come this Sunday down there at Coconut Grove Great House for another celebration of the life of Mwalimu Marcus Messiah Garvey. We're opening the lines now, you know. So, you know, first come, first serve, calling us if you can. The lines are open now. You can call us and let us have a discussion. Seeing right here on the Stepping Razor, you can do it now because the lines are free. So first come, first serve. The lines are open on the Stepping Razor this afternoon. Afternoon?
Yeah, afternoon. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, man. What on?
Yeah, man. A beautiful program last night.
Yeah, man. Give thanks, man.
Beautiful. I really never know. Say we have a second like a general. Muta, yeah, man. Really appreciate that, man. To somebody like you, really, so black can't just say, no, Marcus, I have to listen to you, man. Because, as I say, if I'm an Ira, I do it nobody, so they have to do it through it. Or Jerry, or Miguel. But question, general, in a Jamaica, a country run by two political parties, all right? When I'm the body like a vanguard where we can go to and say, well, obviously this is our go on, so we don't need them people anymore.
You know that that is a wishful thinking, especially if you look on the history. Cause remember when Marcus Garvey formed PPP, political party in 1929. That was the first actual party we formed in Jamaica. As you know, you might know your history.
Yeah, might be the first one. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, you know, the fight when him get, where he eventually have to run left Jamaica, 1935. So, the 1938 now, the PNP farm. Bustamante was also on the PNP.
On the PNP,
original ticket.
That's why I love America. Educate us, bad.
Yeah, Bustamante was part of PNP, you know, the original PNP group. He was persuaded to leave the PNP because the plantation class him too white for them man they lead him. So I saw him break away and go form the JLP, and then he move also the labor class.
Yeah.
Because you don't know, JLP did have the planter class and the labor class. And the PNP did have the middle class and the educated class. So from them time that the whole history where the two of them come down and then the two of them went to England now to negotiate for Jamaica. So the two of them negotiate, says either me or you. So that's why no third party can survive.
Go to England and get more knowledge of it. Turn Jamaican poor black people in alone and take them.
Well, some people can't interpret it that way.
Because the thing I don't understand. I don't understand. We know none of these guys is for the black poor people. Because from 1962, my general, the people are living in a squalor until now. And you have the dynasty around the country, them father run it, them father dead, them people come running, and within second, the people then get rotten rich. I was just there like dumb, I go through high cost of living, and dumb.
I hear one of them say the next one is for them grandchildren.
Well, I was just there. But the question I want to find out now, we have a setup, we have police now go around and shoot down black poor people because them farm gang. I am asking now one day now, how is it that I don't know police I kick off Darrell Barr's door, or Andrew Holness' door, or nobody door, because of what does that mean? So when poor people take something for them, we call it thief. When these guys from university in a Jackson time take with billions of dollars, what we call it? But we cannot give account for $3 trillion. All right? We cannot give account the Minister of Finance. Nah, I said about it all. No. We buy some bus, my general. We buy some bus. It costs the Jamaican people what? $1.4 billion.
Yeah, them say 1.4 billion. You know what's a billion? You know what's $1.4 billion?
Boy, I'm a general.
All of our people don't know. When I want to hear 1.4, it sounds a little bit, but 1 billion for people who understand what a billion is. 1 billion is 1,000 million.
1,000 million.
and then the 4.4 is 400 million.
400 million, I think.
So it's $1,400 million that, So
all right, my general.
yes. So
And
make
we are
sure
going through
paint the
high
picture
cost
there.
of living. We are going through taxes. We have police where I give a ticket, a policeman will come to you and say, oh, you don't make me stop, man. Just flip so you get ticket. You have some little police boy where I talk to some big man anyhow, and we just I go on like a business as usual, my general. The bus them we getting, the new bus them, my general, the new one them, like the
Which
2030 and 2015 cost, what, 12,200.
What are you talking
All
about?
right.
The new, the brand new one for
So the
passenger.
bus them when bring down, and some old bus to get.
Oh, you
A
mean
bus
the
them here.
school bus them?
The school bus and the bus them I'm here
Yeah.
when they now work because I do my investigation and them not work, them park up. So whatever them a stand fire with them friend and give them pocket money and come. It's the same thing like the machine, I'm a general. The machine must have cost 500. I'm not want to go over the machine must have cost
Yeah, man.
500,000,
All right.
I'm a general.
Yeah.
30 million
So much.
everything
Yeah,
was
man.
dead, so you know.
Yeah, man. Glad to get your
governor
point across here.
General, nah, so my general, the
man.
pass of them, nah, so but my general, I wish black people can have some sense and vote for a new party. Long life again to you, my general.
All right, man. Give thanks.
But we need to do something about it, because it's only coming out of 34 million for the silence now. They're not even friend them and keep on black people that live in a squalor. Long life to you, my boss.
All right, sir.
But
Bless
next,
you.
man, I don't like them.
man.
I like a boat. No.
Our operators standing by, assisting our broadcast assistants today. So we are heading out of the program today. Stepping Razor. Of course, Muta will be back next week. It was a pleasure sitting in for the general, and we'll catch up again sometime down in the future. Bless yourselves, my people.